Hi there, I'm the
Hello.
CRM Ninja and the enthusiastic guest. Well, the
Yes, great
enthusiastic
voice.
guest on today's episode is none other than Daryl LaBar. Welcome to the show, Daryl.
Hello, Mr. Ninja. Is it Mr. Ninja? Is that the way you go?
You can just call me Ninja
Ninja.
or something.
All right.
Yeah, or you
All right.
can just call me EY. I don't mind. One's like my official title, one's my unofficial title. I've got no idea
All
which
right.
way around it is.
All right. I didn't know how formal we needed to be here. So, okay.
This is just a casual
EY
chat.
works.
It's funny, you're the first person who's ever called me by my name on this. Everyone just says, "Hey, it's great to be here." Nobody's ever mentioned my name. That's a first in every year.
Well, yeah, sometimes it takes someone to break the mold. I guess that was me.
Definitely. So really appreciate you coming on. I know you obviously are a co-host of a very well-known podcast.
Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. It's growing. That's good.
Man, you and Jonas have been going for a while on it.
We have been.
It's got some good stuff. Now, I understand, obviously, that we all have important things in life. And one thing that's really important to you in life are reading books to your children. Mm-hmm. So do you do this every evening? Or
Pretty much every evening. Go through and read through. Primarily, it's been with my boys. Now that my daughter's really starting to take on her own reading, she's 11. My 6-year-old boy and my 9-year-old boy. We go through. We read through all of the what's the big series with Gandalf? Lord of the Rings. Here we go. We went through all the Lord of the Rings. Went through The Hobbit. We're going through Chronicles of Narnia before. Went through a book series called.
When you say you go through it, you're reading one book a night. I mean, that's serious dedication.
Night. No. It takes like a month sometimes, especially the Hobbit stuff and the Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
stuff. Those are some longer reads. So, but yeah, we'll read through those and
those are some really serious books.
Talk about it. Oh yeah. It's the interesting thing about reading is that you use language in books that you hardly ever use in common speaking. So it's just a really good way to help build vocabulary and to help be able to explain things and point things out. We read the Indian in the Cupboard series, and a lot of that was very heavily British English kind of stuff. And so we had to go through, what's this mean? What's that mean? Because these are not words that most American kids are using. And it may not even be words that most British people are using 20 years later. I don't know. But
language does change over time. Yes. Even here in England.
It does. Yes. Something I really enjoy doing. We homeschool our kids partially. They're on it's called a university model. So they go to school 2 days a week, and then we homeschool them the other 3 days. And that's just been a really core part about it. Just helping them to read, having books for them to read. And it's been, I've seen dividends already, and I really haven't been focusing on it heavily for only a year or two. So yeah.
I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, growing up, I read books voraciously. I mean, I can go through dozens in a weekend if I was just left peaceful and quiet. Unfortunately, my kids don't leave me in peace and quiet, but we read with the children. We can see how it goes, the vocabulary used. So when you come to the end of a book, obviously if it's in a series like Lord of the Rings, for instance, which is really a series, but if you finish part one book in the series, you move on to the next one. But when you come to the end of a series or the end of a singular book, how do you choose what to go to next?
So that's always a good question. Usually it'll be stuff that maybe I read or was read to me when I was a kid. I'll go through that kind of stuff, or just something that is something that might interest me. But a lot of the times it's there's great book sites out there like, hey, read this. These are great books to read. So those are kind of good places to start from. But so far I'm still kind of trying to get through the stuff that I used to read as a kid or read as I was growing up and thought, hey, they'd love this, or lots of times, even if there's a good movie that I might want to show them, we'll read that too. What was the book? The Dogs, Where the Red Fern Grows. There we go. So there's a not a very well-known movie, but there's a movie on that at the very least. So we read the book first before we watched the movie and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I generally prefer reading the books to the films because it's just the way of it. And a very divided question for some people, but actual hardback or paperback printed books or ebooks?
I personally, when I am reading to them, like the ebooks because I can do it in darker night. I don't have to worry about having a nightlight on to read or a reading light to read. So by the time I'm done reading, they've calmed down, and it's like 5 minutes later they're out. So that makes that a little bit easier. But if you're reading yourself, ebooks can be kind of difficult to remember where it is. Like, turning the page, this part was on that page, this part was on that page. So most of them have not been ebooks. Most of them have been paper books. But I just finished. I'm in the middle of doing ebook. I stopped, and I'm trying to do A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. That one's a little bit rough, just because it's more Old English type wordage going on there.
It's
and so
definitely English from a little while back.
Tough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think so. But for myself, I much prefer the paper books, printed books, the texture, the smell, the feel of them, being able to put it down, pick it up. But I didn't think about ebooks in terms of like reading in a more darker situation. For me, I just always turn on the light, I guess. So something new for me to think about.
Half the part of reading the books is fun. The other half is it gets them to calm down and go to sleep, because usually they're like yelling and screaming and being rough and tumble boys, playing football or whatever. Boys. Yep, they will do that, and so that helps just to give them a calming thing and just to lay and listen and to use their brain for the last part of it. The biggest problem is my 6-year-old. He talks all the time, asks questions all the time, and like, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do this? And you're just like, yeah, that's a really good point. Why don't do that? But you're like, we'll find out if they do, or whatever. You have to kind of keep on pushing them off a little bit. It's kind of funny, but
you should get him maybe to write down some of those thoughts and ideas. Maybe make his own version of the story.
Yes. He actually makes a lot of books himself. Mostly they're on war, though. He does a lot of. He likes war stuff.
The joys of it. So going from books and reading to the oops factor, what do you have to share with us today?
So I've got quite a few stories. I've obviously picked up quite a few. I'm going to share just a couple. One's going to be technology related, but most are not, actually. Just because you really learn the best by your mistakes. It's the best teacher. So it's always good to kind of share those things. So I would say kind of the first time that I learned that lesson was in high school. I was I think I just graduated high school. It was my summer before college. And I managed to get a job at this automotive industry type of thing. They made brake controllers for trucks, for trailers, to control your trailer brakes. And so I'm a high schooler. I was wanting to go to computer science. I had done some interning with them, and they're like, "Hey, we need someone to mow the lawn." They had I think they had 6 acres of lawn, 6 or 8 acres of lawn, which I don't know.
Was it like a small little lawnmower that you used for like a back garden little bit, or was it one of these big tractor ones?
No, it was a big 60 inches, so whatever, that's just under.
It's fine.
5.
I know what that
feet,
is.
but but it was it's a 60-inch deck. So, and it would still take me 3-4 hours to mow the lawn. So it would take me all morning to mow.
Okay.
Then I had to do weeding and other stuff and the other stuff. So I'd spent half my time I did lawn care, and the other half of my time I would go in and help engineers with whatever they needed help with. Usually it was like, hey, I need you to sort this spreadsheet or do something with this Excel document, or hey, I need you to run this test, which was fairly basic. It was like, put this in an oven, set it to certain degrees, and keep track of the temperature every 20 minutes or something like that. So it was kind of fun because I got to wear jean shorts that were all dirty from working outside, because I'd work out in the morning and then I'd work inside in the air conditioning in the hot afternoon. So, and everyone else is in business attire, and here I am in shorts and like
sounds great.
I probably wouldn't have done that now, but as a high schooler, I guess you do whatever you want to do. So I went ahead and was doing that. And one of my experiments that I was supposed to do my test cases, it caught fire in the oven. And I wasn't even in the room when it caught fire. And I come in, and one of the other engineers is taking out the fire extinguisher and blasting it into the oven to put out the fire. And here I'm thinking, man, I'm just this dorky college kid that starts fires. Like, I'm gonna get like a nickname, like people are gonna make fun of me, or is, how, I feel so stupid that I've done this. And I was just like profusely apologizing. He just started laughing. He's like, if you don't break anything, you're not doing anything. That was his quote. If you don't break anything, you're not doing anything. So I see that a lot. And with newer people in technical spaces, where they were so afraid that they'd done something wrong. And once I'm like, yeah, well, if you're going to break things. If you're doing something, you're going to break something. Something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And so, fix it and learn from it and move on. So that was the only time I had a fire. I guess I learned from it. I don't know. So that's one story to talk through. Another story happened a little bit earlier, and that was me learning to drive. So I don't know what the legal requirements are across the world, but for me, you had to be 16 years old in order to get your driver's license. And in order to do that, you had to have a certain amount of driver's training ride-along hours. So you'd have a parent, somebody else with a license that was riding with you. So it was after, I think, football practice one day, and this is American football, and my dad picks me up, and it was a 1984 Dodge Rampage, which is like an El Camino. So it's like a little mini truck, truck, maybe half car, half truck. And it was made in the year I was born.
Okay.
Puke brown, rusting out, never gotten a wash in its life. Just a farm truck that was just dirty as, it broke down, leave it there. That's fine. Who cares? And so that was what my first car was. And I'm driving on a dirt road from my school back to my house. And there's a woodchuck in the middle of the road about, I don't know, 100 meters ahead. And I was like, oh, okay. Asked my dad, should I try to hit it? He's like, sure, why not? We're farmers. Woodchuck's just a big rodent, kind of like a beer kind of thing. So it was in the road, and farmers, we don't like things eating our crops or getting our stuff or whatever. So
you tried to hit it with your half car,
half truck. Hit it with my car. Yes. So, and it's not very tall, it's the same height as a car. It just happens to be in the shape of a truck. And so I speed up to 55 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour on this dirt road, which probably isn't a very good idea. And, and I'm driving at the last second, the thing takes off. It was frozen there until I was like 10 feet away, and then it took off at the last second. And I did one of these things where I jerked the steering wheel at the last second on a dirt road at 55 miles an hour. And the entire truck just went completely it may have gone past sideways. I don't know. And I managed to overcorrect it, and it came the other way around and the other way around and the other way around. So I'm just going across the median back and forth on this dirt road out in the country. There was a gentleman that was getting his mail probably a quarter mile away. Like, he dropped his mail and ran because this truck just going crazy down this road. I'm just
picturing the scene.
It was movie perfect. I mean, if you had a stuntman doing it, I don't know if they could have done it any better. And so 8, 9, 10 times I've overcorrected and gone back and forth. And so finally I managed to pull it out just about where the guy was at his mailbox. I managed to pull it out, and I'm driving straight again. And my dad didn't say a single thing the entire time, just sat there the entire time. I think he maybe.
Hold on. Your dad was in it with you?
Yes, he was in it with me. Yeah, because this was my training hours. This is right along bit. Yeah, so he's supposed to be in there with me.
Wow!
I asked him, should I hit it? He's like, yeah, sure. So, he's riding along with me, and I won't ever forget this. We both are kind of this still tensed up, relaxing, and he just said, I didn't think we were going to make it. That's all he said. I didn't think we were going to make it. And I was like, I didn't think we were going to make it either. And so I learned my lesson to don't yank the steering wheel when you're going at speed, dirt road.
But still hit woodchucks.
Well, yes, you could try to. I missed it with my tire, but I hit it with my undercarriage. I don't know if it got a headache or if it killed it or not. But that was my least of the concerns. I did not go back to check. Maybe in my pants, but not the woodchuck. No, it was a crazy thing. So yes, that was another time in my life where I was lucky not to get in an accident and potentially get seriously hurt. So yes, that was another time. And then my final story that I'm going to share was this is my only IT related story. I was working for a retail store at the corporate office, and that was back in 2009ish, I want to say. And they had a internal ASP.NET website that they were using for that they were wanting me to create for doing requests for things. So you could think for requesting maybe you need a power cord, maybe you need paper or other office supplies or things like that. Or in the stores, a lot of times with like light bulbs. So if you have a letter burn out, you need a light bulb for the letter and that kind of stuff. So it's like an internal supply request stuff. Okay. And so I'm through and I'm testing it, and I'm testing it in our stage environment for some reason. I don't remember why. And in our stage environment, we had all was just a copy of production, and I didn't think about that. And I'm testing something, and I managed to write an infinite loop, or not an infinite loop. I managed to forget my where statement on my query for the records I needed to return. And not only that, but I also managed not to check to see if like emails would send out in the other environment, in that environment. I didn't think about that either. So I managed to kick off some code that sent every single person in the company, including the president and everyone on the board and everything else. I sent them an email saying from my account saying that their laptop request had been denied. And so that was that was very interesting, because I set it out and I was like, oh crap, that actually, because I got an email from myself, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, wait a minute, why did I get an email from myself? I wasn't testing with myself.
Did anybody ask you who had put in a laptop request for them?
No one asked me that. And then all of a sudden, the people around me that knew me, like, hey, Daryl, why did I get a laptop request denied from you? I was like, just ignore that. Yeah, so I got multiple calls from people that, like, they're like, why did I get that? And they're all like confused. It's like, oh, that was by accident. You can ignore that, like, But yeah, so that was kind of like my shtick for the rest of my time in the company. I was the laptop request guy. Where
you were the laptop denier guy.
That was the laptop denier, yeah. So that was I never really lived that one down until I left the company. So that was something that I definitely learned. Hey, when you're dealing with real emails, an environment that has real emails, and you're sending out emails, just make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you've added your where criteria correctly, and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah. Yep. So that was my other. Oops.
No, that's. That, I think those are three really, really great stories. Don't be afraid of pushing the boundaries, because if you don't push the boundaries, you will never succeed fully. And even when you push it, you're guaranteed to fail at least on one time. Don't worry, we all grow from it. Number 2, always hit the woodchuck. Or try and hit the woodchuck, but be careful when driving that you don't swing across.
Yes, yes. No matter how big you desire to hit the woodchuck, don't let it overrule your safety.
yeah, safety first, but hit the woodchuck. Yes. Just get a T-shirt or something with that.
Yes. I hit the
woodchuck. and then obviously, of course, when dealing with data, there could be a copy of live data with actual email addresses. Just make sure that you've got everything there around it, and that's not just email address data. So some really great times.
Anytime you're dealing with data that has real live data from a production backup or something, realize, oh yeah, I may be sending out emails, I may be including people's addresses and things that they don't want to have included, and all that kind of stuff. So
data security
things that I
is important.
Never made the mistake of again.
That's good, and that's what really the purpose of this is about. Share the different things that people have gone through, so we can all learn and understand and take that. So, Daryl, thank you ever so much for your time. Really appreciate you coming on to share these. And
I still think I want to call you Mr. Ninja. I don't know why, but it's great.
I have no problem with that. You're more than welcome to. Viewers, we hope that you've enjoyed it and laughed as much as I did on the woodchuck one, especially when I realized that Daryl's dad was sitting next to it, because he conveniently left that out until 2/3 of the way through this.
Yes, because he said nothing. He said absolutely nothing until we were on the road again, going safely along. It's like, I didn't think we're going to make it.
Best way of doing it. Feel free to check out the rest of the Oops Factor playlist, subscribe to the channel, take a look at the blog. And if you want to come and share one of your own stories on the Oops Factor, take a look at the description, hit the link, fill in your details, and I'll drop you a line. Have a great day.